Welcome to Ilagan Whiteboard Friday, where we look at complex legal and compliance issues in a simple to do way. This series is brought to you by Ilagan, your partner and provider of end-to-end business services.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Ilagan Whiteboard Friday. My name is Vikash from the Ilagan team, and I have with me Madan Ahluwalia, attorney practicing general law here in Silicon Valley, California. So today we're going to talk about where should we incorporate your business when you're incorporating or starting or registering a company here in the US. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the question, where should a company be formed, is a very tough question. And it really boils down to two main issues. First one is, should I incorporate or not? And the second thing is, where should I incorporate? So regarding the first question, whether I should incorporate or not is a very personal question, and really depends on what the ultimate goal is. At the very least, if you incorporate, it buys you legal protection. That is one of the biggest reasons people incorporate, because they want to insulate personal liability from business liability. And the second reason people incorporate is they want to get a right to conduct business as a structured legal entity. And the third reason, it depends on what their business exit strategy is. If I want to conduct business as a small business, and maybe I want to grow it to 5-10 people, and I want to keep it in the family, or maybe hire 1 or 2 managers, have 6-7 employees, then whether I do business as a sole proprietorship or I do business as an LLC, it probably doesn't matter. However, if I'm starting, a big project, let us say I'm starting a mobile application, okay, and the customer base is worldwide, right? And then in that case, I want to set up a proper corporate structure so that later on I can go out and maybe raise some funding. So it really depends on investment objectives as well.
Also, I want to clarify one thing for entrepreneurs in India. They don't really have an option of starting a sole proprietorship here in the US, right? If they are residing in India, they cannot come and start a sole proprietorship here.
Correct.
Yes.
Because they have to have the right to work in the United States.
Yes.
And the right to work usually comes from employment-based visa. It could be an employment-based non-immigrant visa, or it could be employment-based immigrant visa.
So depending upon your immigration status, you may or may not be, most likely not be allowed to start sole proprietorship, in which case you have to incorporate. And does it also allow things like getting partners and shares, giving out shares and things like that?
Yeah, it does. When you set up a corporation, so going back to your original point, if you want to conduct business and you don't have the right to work, you can set up a business. And the business can be conducted in more than one ways. However, it does not give you the right to work in the company and get paid for it. You can still work as officer of the company and do some of the what is known as CEO related kind of activities, like planning for business, setting the direction of the business and raising funds and things like this. But that does not give the right to work as a paid employee of the company.
Okay. And so tell us a little bit more about the options. What options do you have when you want to say you want to incorporate? What options do you have in that case? Where can you incorporate? Which state?
Yeah, the option as to where the company should be incorporated is another layer of tough question. It really depends on what your objective is. Okay, so we have listed 3 factors here. One is the state of residence. The second one is privacy laws, and the third one is the cost factor. So let us discuss those in that order. So state of residence really means where you will be doing business and where the bookkeeping, record keeping, and some of the other legal requirements will be met. And another factor would be where the business will be headquartered. And another option would be where the employees will be working for the company. So you have to take a look at the big picture and see what makes most sense.
So in case, let's say a company in India is just getting started and they want to move out here and have some kind of presence, but they don't really know where the employees would be, where the customers would be. In that case, what can they do? Where should they start? This just pick a state, or?
So again, the first option they have is state of residence, and residence could be extended to tap into what resources they have. Okay. So let us say they have friends in Santa Clara or San Jose, right?
Which is in California.
And let us say because of that they know an attorney or a CPA or other professionals in the area.
Okay.
So it's easier for them to contact the lawyer and make decisions and get the process going.
Okay.
However, let us say they don't have any of them.
Yeah.
Then they basically have to choose based on privacy laws or cost factor.
Okay.
So privacy law means, in a legal sense, it means forum shopping. And by forum shopping, meaning that you choose a particular place because you know that if things go wrong, then things are what I would consider they will be more favorable to you. So what I mean by that is, what does the company fear the most? Legal liability.
Yeah, they don't want to get sued or they don't want to pay for.
Correct.
Yes.
So for the privacy laws and the forum shopping purposes, you go find a state where they are more business friendly or more corporate friendly,
Okay.
as opposed to somebody who is sewing friendly. So there are companies. There are states like Delaware, Nevada, where the corporate laws, they're very corporate friendly.
Okay.
Okay, meaning that if there's a lawsuit,
Yeah.
they tend to favor the business or the corporation more than somebody who's suing the corporation.
Okay. But if you start business in that particular state, and if you're conducting business elsewhere, then can you just incorporate in one state and you'll be okay, or do you have to incorporate in each state that you're doing business?
So let's do this. Let's talk about that in the pros and cons.
Okay.
And let's cover the cost factor first.
Okay.
And what I meant by that is that the cost of setting up a corporation, cost of having an agent of service, the cost of having a CPA, the cost of keeping the books, all of those are costs which should be kept in mind.
Yeah.
Because when you incorporate, you cannot conduct business like you would personally. And what I mean by that is, let us say, I have a bank account, okay, and I deposit money whenever I want to. I take out money whenever I want to. Sometimes I balance my checkbook, sometimes I don't. Or, if I take a business associate out for lunch, I can pay from the checking account and not worry about it. However, when we are conducting business as a corporation, then certain bookkeeping, certain accounting, certain procedures have to be kept.
Okay.
And for corporation, they also have compliance issues. Meaning, as a corporation, if you open a bank account, if you hire or fire an employee, if you bring in an officer, okay, you have to follow the procedures. So all of those are covered in the cost factor. If you're a small business, okay, a small corporation, and you don't know which direction you're going to go, then the best thing to do is have a business plan, project it out, and then probably take the middle road.
And you were also mentioning before when we were talking about California, for example, has $800 a year fees.
Correct.
Can you tell us a little bit about that versus Delaware or Nevada?
Okay, so first of all, I'm a California lawyer, so I don't know about all the other states. Okay. Having said that disclaimer, what I tell people is that if you are interested in setting up a corporation in another state, then you probably have to look up information either on the internet or you have to go talk to somebody who knows about more than one state.
Okay.
Having said that, what I can tell you is that when you incorporate in California, okay, there is a fee, which is an annual fee, and it's a California state franchise tax fees, and it is $800
every year.
Every year.
Yes.
So whether you do business or not,
Yeah.
you have to pay that every year.
Yes.
And from what I understand, some other states, they don't have those annual fees.
Like Delaware and Nevada. Right.
Like I said,
Yeah.
I don't know for a fact,
Yes.
but if cost is a factor, then I welcome you to research that issue and then go incorporate in the state where you have the least amount of cost.
Yeah. By the way, from what we have seen at Ilagan is most of the times if you are looking for venture funding or working with an IT company, most likely the VC will ask you to go and incorporate in Delaware. So definitely consider that. If you don't know where to start with, just go and incorporate in Delaware. But again, like Madan is mentioning, we have to go through a lot of pros and cons. So actually, let's go through some of the other pros and cons of starting a business in one state versus the other.
Yeah, so pros and cons are basically, it goes back to what is your investment objective and also what is your business objective. Okay, so one of the things that always gets me is that if you have a Delaware company, for example, okay, but you still end up doing business in other state. Let us say California, let us say New York, okay? And let's pick an example.
Okay.
Let us say you have an IT company.
Yes.
Okay, and you are in IT consulting business.
Yes.
Okay, and let us say you're sending 5 consultants, okay, being a Delaware company, to California. And let us say you're also sending 3 other consultants to New York. Just keep in mind that you will still end up paying the taxes and filing different state tax returns wherever you send your consultants to.
So wherever they're physically present.
Wherever they're physically present and wherever the physically the services are being rendered.
Okay. And what if I'm just selling a product based out of, if I'm in California, I'm shipping a product to New York. In that case, do I have to incorporate in or do tax returns to New York also?
No, you don't.
Okay.
You're absolutely right. You don't have to incorporate in the previous situation as well. Okay, it is a tax liability issue.
Okay.
So the tax liability is of 2 main kinds: federal tax liability and state tax liability.
Okay.
And another factor which is very, very important in the case of providing services is that if you have a regular course of business with another state, let us say you provide services, and again going back to the example, IT services, and you are sending a consultant to California. If that consultant engages in some wrongdoing, okay, let us say the product is somehow messed up, or let us say he engages in some what I would call human conduct that can give rise to fraud or other criminal activity, because you have conducted business in that state, the law can extend hands and still reach you back and hold you responsible.
Okay.
And for people who like to know more, it is called long arms statute, meaning the arms of the law are long and they can still get you even though you are incorporated in that state or not. So those are some of the pros and cons of making a decision and incorporating in one state versus the other.
Great. Thanks. So do you have anything else you want to add on top of this?
No, I think we covered it pretty well.
Great. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you again for another episode of eLagan Whiteboard Friday. And do visit elagan.com/KB, that is the knowledge space, for extensive articles and videos about various topics. Thank you.